Welcome to my channel Books and Knowledge. As you all know that this channel is dedicated to studies of different subjects, competitive exams, knowledge of different books, research papers, and whatever is connected to education and knowledge. As you all know that we are running a series on psychological lessons. There have been few videos already posted where we have given you the introduction about psychology and education psychology. Now, we would be covering the first grade syllabus as prescribed by Rpsc. All the subjects, including English, have got education psychology as part fourth. So we are going to start with this part. The very first part is about importance of psychology in teaching and learning. It has got four different sections: learner, teacher, teaching learning process, and school effectiveness. So in this video, we are going to take up the first two, the learner and the teacher. So let's begin. Who is a learner? A learner is the central figure of education psychology. That means the main. Without a learner, how can there be any studies? So how can education psychology help? So, a learner is necessary for the use of education psychology. A child has the innate capacity to learn. That means he is born with the capacity to learn. As soon as he comes in the world, from his environment, he has the natural urge to gain, learn, to understand. The teaching should be according to the desires and requirements of the learners. This is very true. He should be taught what he desires. What is the basic requirement to become a proper and absolute human being? So, education psychology helps to give the proper teaching to the learner according to his desires, according to the requirement of the learner. The knowledge of education psychology helps the teacher in the following way. First, it increases the understanding about the learner. Now, the teacher can take the help of education psychology to understand the different stages of development, to know the learner. See, there are different stages. The learner doesn't learn all of a sudden. There are stages by which he goes through and learn. So, he knows the learner well, he knows the stages well, the teacher. Then he knows the individual difference. All the learners are not same. They have different capacity. So, their learning speed is also very different. Their mental capacity is also very different. And also the hereditary. Heredity also helps to learn, to have that particular capacity, and the teacher also should understand that if a person comes from a good background, educated parents, he would learn faster. And if a student comes from a very humble background, it will be very difficult for him to understand in the very first place. So he needs to have a gentler outlook than the person who comes from a normal background. Therefore, the environment should be made according to the desire and the requirement. Also, the mental health of the child is also known to the teacher through the help of education psychology. Mentally, all the children are not same. Some are very slow learners and some are fast. So, different education techniques, methods should be used for different people. He should be in a position to guide and counsel the learner, the teacher. He should motivate, inculcate positive and creative discipline. All these things are very much important for the teacher to understand and deliver. He has to be like a mentor. He has to start from zero and should be like a friend, should be like a guide, should be like a very positive counselor, understanding the deep mental ability of the student. Second, to understand the nature of classroom learning. Till now, we spoke about what he should know in the learner, and now the environmental, the setting of the classroom. See, classroom is very much important for learning. People cannot learn everything by themselves at home. Classroom is there to solve the problems of the students, and classroom problems are also solved by the help of education psychology. Classroom helps to develop interest and necessary skills in teaching and learning. It understands the effective method of teaching. It helps to understand the effective method of teaching. It helps to understand principles of evaluation and assessment. It helps to understand the procedure of curriculum construction. See, education psychology explains classroom as the best setting for delivering education and gaining education. So, all these methods, all these principles, evaluation, curriculum construction, all these are better understood in a classroom setting. Next, we will take up who is a teacher. A teacher is a person who contracts and delivers an education program to the learner and performs the act of teaching. We all know this very well, that he is the one who makes the education program and delivers to the students. Nature and characteristics of teaching. Teaching is a complex social process. It is not that easy as it seems. It is very complex because the learners are not same. Their backgrounds, their mental capacity, their environment, their heredity, all make them very different to each other. So the teacher has to take up different methods to make them understand. Teaching is a professional activity. Yes, it is taken as a profession. It is the most noble profession, but then the teacher earns through this activity. Teaching is the output emanating from the teacher. See, teaching is also an art which comes out of the teacher. Whatever he has learned in the past, plus the different teaching methodology. All these make up a good teacher. So teaching is both as art as well as science. See, it is an art to teach. It is not that easy. So a teacher is an artist. And of course, through scientific methods, he imparts his teaching to the learner. Teaching is dominated by the use of communicative skills. Teacher should have a good communicative skill. When he communicates interestingly, the learner learns. It is an interactive process. Both should be active participants, the teacher and the learner. Otherwise, it will be very difficult. The passive teaching does not help the learner at all. So, in your lifetime, you must have seen both type of teachers, and you have always liked the teachers who had the best communicative skills and who used to be very much interactive with you. Teaching is an organized system of various actions. Of course, teaching has got a particular chronology. It is organized. The syllabus and the complete teaching procedure is well organized in advance before it begins. The general principles of teaching. Principles of definite goals and objectives. There are goals and objectives, and they should be definite. They should be clear so that they may help both the teacher and the learner. Principle of planning is very much important. It has to be done before the commencement of teaching. Principle of utilizing past experiences. Yes, if the chapter or the topic of the syllabus was appropriate through the past experiences, then only it should be continued. Or it should be discarded if it has become obsolete. The past experiences of the teacher to handle the student, to communicate, and to be interactive should also be taken into account. Principle of flexibility or elasticity. The teacher has to play a bigger role here. He should be flexible enough. He should not be short-tempered or very, very strict. Principle of linking with real life. He should teach by giving examples from real life. He should keep the child in center. That means the main object is the learner. He should correlate the other subjects also with his topics, the other things around the learner. The teacher knows that there are so many differences between the individuals. So he should develop certain methods which are appropriate, which are for that particular type of learners. So, principle of making provisions for individual differences. Principle of effective strategies and instructional material. This is also important. Effective strategies, plans, ways should be used. The instructional material should be made. In teaching, you should have different models, different examples. Creative teaching should be there. Principle of active participation. The students should be made to participate, should help the student to understand better. Principle of conducive environment and proper control. This is also very much important. The environment should be very friendly, very good, according to the classroom decorum. And the teacher should have full control over his learners. Now we will do psychological principles of teaching. Principle of motivation and interest. Say he should be in a position to motivate. He should not do passive teaching and not the strict or hackneyed teaching, but he should create some interest in the learners and motivate. Principle of change, rest, and recreation. This is also important. The teaching should not go on and on and on. There should be some change. The classroom teaching should have some rest, and the learners should have some kind of recreation so that they can come back to the serious learning. Principle of repetition and exercise. The teacher should involve the students to repeat and to do a lot of exercises of that particular topic. He should have sympathy and he should have cooperation. Cooperate with the student to the learner. Principle of feedback and reinforcement. This is also important. The tests should be taken regularly. The revision classes should also be there to reinforce. Principle of providing training to the senses. The student learn through the sense of sight and sense of hearing. So both these senses should be evoked by the teacher. He can use audio-visual methods to teach a particular topic. Principle of encouraging self-learning. This is important. Some points should be told and he should be encouraged to learn more by himself. Principle of fostering creativity and self-expression. A teacher should motivate the student to write, to learn, to be creative, to do some self exercises by writing himself, his mind out. So all these things are also necessary. Principle of utilizing group dynamics. This is also very much important, that the students or the learners should be divided into groups. They learn better there with the cooperation of each other, and it is an interesting exercise. It recreates them. It gives them the change. So this is also very much important. So these were the psychological principles of teaching. Please like, comment, share and subscribe my channel. We will be back with more such videos. Thank you.